Hey everyone, Adam here with a quick RimWorld guide. So lately while streaming RimWorld, a lot of people have been coming in and asking, how do you pick your starting map? So this video is going to go over the 5 things to look for when choosing a starting map for your colony in order to give you the highest chance at success. So in this video, I'm only going over map choice. I can do other videos on storytellers, difficulties, starting pawns, all that kind of stuff, but I don't want this one to get too long. Also, a quick note before we start, I am playing with the royalty DLC on the newest version of RimWorld. You do not need the DLC or the newest version for what we're going to go over today, so don't worry about that if you don't currently have this version or you haven't yet bought the DLC. All right, so I'm going to go to New Colony, and again, we don't really care about this right now, so I'm just going to choose Lost Tribe because it's my favorite. We're going to go to Next, and again, we can have other videos over this stuff, so I'm just going to put it on Peaceful and Cassandra, and go to Next. Here we are at the Create World screen. I'm going to go over this really quickly because, again, this doesn't really pertain to map choice, but what you do here will determine what kind of maps are spawned on your globe as a whole. As the seed, I'm just going to go ahead and use my name here. So if you want to follow along and have the exact same seed that I have, you can use Adam versus everything, all lowercase. You can also randomize a seed or type whatever you want on here. This is just going to spawn your own unique world. I typically put globe coverage to 100%. This does take longer to load your initial world. However, at 100%, the world is much bigger, so you have a lot more opportunity to search for that perfect map. For this video, I'm going to leave overall rain, overall temperature, and population at normal. We're going to go to generate, and it's going to take just a few minutes, depending on your computer, to generate your world. Now that we have our world created, we're going to be looking for a combination of 5 main things that will give us the greatest chance at survival. I'll also put a few nice bonus things at the end of the list. The first thing we're going to look for is Temperate Forest biome. Temperate Forest is one of the easiest, if not the absolute easiest, biome to build a base on for many reasons, and I highly recommend it if you're just starting out, or if you're just trying to maximize your chance of success. This biome has plenty of trees, plenty of animals, enough rich soil for a thriving agriculture, tons of grazable areas for your livestock, a lower disease chance than many of the other maps, a nice temperature range, and much more. You can find this biome on the world map by searching for light green areas, usually just a bit north or south of the equator. The next thing you want to make sure of if you want the easiest map possible is that your tile has permanent summer. You'll see this by clicking a tile and then clicking terrain in the bottom left and looking at the growing season. It will say year round if it has permanent summer. Not only does this give you a much easier time with food, you'll also have to worry about fewer types of clothing, heating, etc. for most of your playthrough. It's important to note though that even permanent summer maps can have cold snaps. These are events that are going to severely drop the temperature for a while, making it so you'll have to keep your colonists warm for a bit. The event's also going to kill all of your outdoor crops and most of the wild growth on the map. The next thing I recommend you look for in order to have the easiest time is a mountain map, or at least a map with large hills. You can find these by looking at the little elevation markers on the tiles. If you're not sure if a map is mountainous or not, you can always just click the tile and then look at the terrain menu and it'll let you know. Maps with mountains are awesome for 3 main reasons. First, these maps generally contain canyons or other features that are easy to wall off for a relatively easily defendable position. Second, you'll have plenty of mineable areas to find things like stone blocks, steel, components, gold, uranium, etc., etc. If you were to start on a completely flat map instead, you'd have far less access to these resources. Third, which I won't get into fully in this video, is the ability to build a base under the mountain. These are the absolute best defensible positions in RimWorld, but come with their own dangers, namely infestations. So my advice is if you're just getting started, use the mountains for defense and mining, but maybe don't become dwarves and move underneath just yet. The next criteria I look at when trying to find a perfect map is if it has a river or not. River maps are awesome and I highly recommend trying to find one. I prefer large rivers that bisect the map either vertically or horizontally. First reason that rivers are amazing is that you can use them for defense. Putting a kill tunnel around a river and forcing enemies to walk slowly through water as you shoot them from a good safe distance is a great defensive strategy throughout an entire playthrough. The next reason is due to the amount of power you can get from a river. In RimWorld, there are several different types of power sources. One of my favorites, though, is hydropower. You can research hydropower relatively early and then build generators along the river. These generators produce about a third of the power as a geothermal, but can be accessed earlier, they cost less, and if you have a long river on your map, you can build way more of these than geothermal generators. Also, just like geothermal, they are a consistent source of power and don't rely on wind, sunlight, or fuel from a colonist. The last thing I want to mention is caves. If you want a map that gives you the highest chance at success, you do not want one with caves. You can see if a map has caves by clicking the terrain tab and looking towards the bottom for special features. If caves are listed there, I advise moving on and finding a new tile. Although caves do provide a few unique plants in the game, it's just not worth the risks. Generally, cave maps will have several places in which insects are already active. These little mini infestations can grow to be a pain in the right circumstance. And even if you're super careful and you don't allow your colonists or animals within range of the insects, one random visitor can easily pull a bunch of bugs across the map and give you an early game over. Another note about caves that I won't get into entirely is that they do have overhead mountain as their roof type. These are tiles where new infestations can spawn. Alright, so those are the 5 most important things in my opinion. There are a couple more quick things I will mention that are good if you can swing them, but are probably not necessary unless you're completely min-maxing. Of course, this guide is about the absolute best starting maps, so here we go. In the terrain tab, you can also see what type of stone are on the map. The best combination in my opinion is granite and marble. Granite is the base stone with the highest HP and makes for amazing defensive walls, whereas marble is the most beautiful stone and is amazing to use in statues. Also, roads can be important in RimWorld. Caravans do get a travel time bonus when traveling on a tile with roads. Doesn't matter what type of road, just as long as a road is in that tile. Lastly, it's generally good to be close-ish to several other settlements, especially if they are able to become allies, so that you'll have an easy time caravanning for trade, negotiations, etc. when the time comes. Alright, that's it. If you're looking for the absolute best map to give you the edge on RimWorld, try to find one that is Temperate Forest, has year-round growing, is mountainous or contains large hills, has a large river bisecting it either vertically or horizontally, and if you can, get one of these that also contain marble and granite, is near a road, has a few befriendable factions around. If you're interested in me making more RimWorld guides, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, sharing the video with others that might find it helpful, and leaving a comment down below. If you have any questions about map selection or RimWorld in general, you can ask that below too, or feel free to join our Discord. It's free for everyone. And as always, thank you for watching.